Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman revolutionized our understanding of what it means to be intelligent. Published in 1995, this groundbreaking book argues that emotional intelligence, EQ, may be more important than the traditional concept of intelligence quotient, IQ, when it comes to achieving success in life. Goleman, a psychologist and journalist, draws on decades of research in psychology and neuroscience to show that the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our emotions, and those of others, plays a critical role in our personal and professional lives. The book begins by challenging the conventional view that intelligence is solely determined by cognitive abilities like logic and reasoning. Instead, Goleman introduces the concept of emotional intelligence, which encompasses skills such as self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Through compelling stories, scientific studies, and practical examples, Goleman illustrates how individuals with high EQ navigate life's challenges more effectively, build stronger relationships, and create more fulfilling lives. Main structure of the book. Emotional intelligence is structured into 5 key parts, each addressing a different dimension of emotional intelligence and its impact on various aspects of life. The emotional brain. This section explores the neurological basis of emotions, explaining how the brain's architecture influences our emotional responses. Goleman discusses the evolutionary roots of emotion and the role of the amygdala in emotional hijackings, where emotions overpower rational thought. The nature of emotional intelligence. Goleman introduces the 5 components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. He explains how each component contributes to personal and professional success. Emotional intelligence applied. This part delves into how emotional intelligence affects various areas of life, including work, relationships, and health. Goleman discusses the concept of flow, the role of emotional intelligence in leadership, and how EQ contributes to overall well-being. Windows of opportunity. Here, Goleman examines how emotional intelligence develops throughout life, particularly in childhood. He emphasizes the importance of early childhood experiences and education in shaping emotional intelligence and highlights the role of parents and schools in fostering EQ. Emotional literacy. The final section of the book focuses on practical strategies for improving emotional intelligence. Goleman provides guidance on how to enhance self-awareness, manage emotions, develop empathy, and build stronger social skills. He also discusses the broader societal implications of emotional intelligence and how it can contribute to a more compassionate world. Next, here's a detailed breakdown of each chapter in Daniel Goleman's Emotional Intelligence. Part 1. The Emotional Brain. Chapter 1. What are emotions for? Summary. This chapter introduces the concept of emotions as survival mechanisms that have evolved over millions of years. Goleman explains how emotions guide our decision-making and responses to various situations, serving as an internal compass. Key points. Evolutionary purpose of emotions, their role in survival, and how emotions influence behavior. Chapter 2. Anatomy of an emotional hijacking. Summary. Goleman explains the phenomenon of emotional hijacking, where the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, takes over, leading to impulsive reactions. He discusses the brain's architecture, highlighting the connection between the emotional and rational brain. Key points. The role of the amygdala, the interplay between the emotional and rational brain, and examples of emotional hijackings. Part 2. The nature of emotional intelligence. Chapter 3. When smart is dumb. Summary. This chapter challenges the notion that high IQ alone leads to success. Goleman argues that IQ is not the only predictor of life outcomes, introducing the concept of emotional intelligence, EQ, as a critical factor. Key points. The limitations of IQ, the importance of EQ, and examples of smart people failing due to low EQ. Chapter 4. Know Thyself. Summary. Focused on self-awareness, this chapter explores the importance of recognizing and understanding one's own emotions. Goleman explains how self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Key points. The significance of self-awareness, techniques for enhancing it, and the impact of self-awareness on decision-making. Chapter 5. Passion Slaves. Summary. Goleman discusses self-regulation, the ability to manage and control one's emotions. He explains how emotional self-control is essential for making rational decisions and maintaining emotional balance. Key points. The concept of self-regulation, strategies for managing emotions, and the consequences of emotional dysregulation. Chapter 6. The Master Aptitude. Summary. This chapter highlights motivation as a key component of emotional intelligence. Goleman explains how self-motivation and the ability to delay gratification contribute to long-term success. Key points. The role of motivation in achieving goals, the importance of persistence, and the link between motivation and emotional intelligence. Chapter 7. The Roots of Empathy. Summary. Goleman explores empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. He explains how empathy is crucial for building strong relationships and effective communication. Key points. The biological basis of empathy, its role in social interactions, and ways to develop empathy. Chapter 8. The Social Arts. Summary. This chapter delves into social skills, the final component of emotional intelligence. Goleman discusses how social competence involves managing relationships, influencing others, and navigating social networks. Key points. The importance of social skills, techniques for improving them, and their impact on leadership and teamwork. Part 3, Emotional Intelligence Applied. Chapter 9. Intimate Enemies. Summary. Goleman examines the role of emotional intelligence in personal relationships, particularly in managing conflicts and maintaining healthy connections. He discusses how EQ can enhance intimacy and reduce misunderstandings. Key points. The impact of emotional intelligence on relationships, conflict resolution, and the importance of empathy in partnerships. Chapter 10. Managing with Heart. Summary. This chapter focuses on the workplace, exploring how emotional intelligence is critical for effective leadership and team dynamics. Goleman explains how leaders with high EQ inspire and motivate their teams. Key points. The role of EQ in leadership, how it affects workplace culture, and strategies for leading with emotional intelligence. Chapter 11. Mind and Medicine. Summary. Goleman discusses the connection between emotional intelligence and physical health. He explains how emotions can influence the immune system, stress levels, and overall well-being. Key points. The relationship between emotions and health, the impact of stress on the body, and the benefits of emotional regulation. Part 4, Windows of Opportunity. Chapter 12. The Family Crucible. Summary. This chapter explores how emotional intelligence develops during childhood, emphasizing the role of family dynamics. Goleman discusses how parents can influence their children's emotional growth. Key points. The influence of family on emotional development, parenting styles that foster EQ, and the long-term effects of early emotional experiences. Chapter 13. Trauma and Emotional Relearning. Summary. Goleman examines how trauma affects emotional development and the process of emotional relearning. He discusses how individuals can overcome past traumas to develop emotional intelligence. Key points. The impact of trauma on emotional growth, methods for emotional healing, and the role of therapy in emotional relearning. Chapter 14. Temperament is not destiny. Summary. This chapter challenges the idea that personality traits are fixed, arguing that emotional intelligence can be cultivated throughout life. Goleman highlights the importance of early interventions and education. Key points. The malleability of emotional intelligence, the role of education in fostering EQ, and the potential for personal growth. Part 5, Emotional Literacy. Chapter 15. The Cost of Emotional Illiteracy. Summary. Goleman discusses the societal implications of low emotional intelligence, highlighting the costs associated with emotional illiteracy, such as crime, mental illness, and social unrest. Key points. The broader impact of emotional intelligence on society, the consequences of emotional neglect, and the need for emotional education. Chapter 16. Schools for the Heart. Summary. This chapter advocates for integrating emotional intelligence into school curricula. Goleman presents examples of educational programs designed to teach emotional and social skills to children. Key points: the benefits of emotional education, examples of successful programs, and the role of schools in fostering emotional literacy. Chapter 17. The Compassionate Society. Summary. In the final chapter, Goleman envisions a society where emotional intelligence is valued and cultivated. He argues that promoting EQ on a societal level can lead to greater compassion, cooperation, and overall well-being. Key points: the vision of an emotionally intelligent society, the importance of empathy and compassion, and the potential for societal transformation through EQ. In the closing of Emotional Intelligence, Goleman underscores the critical importance of cultivating emotional intelligence in both personal and societal contexts. He argues that while cognitive intelligence is important, it is our emotional intelligence that ultimately shapes our happiness, relationships, and success in life. Goleman calls for a shift in the way we educate children and manage workplaces, advocating for greater emphasis on emotional literacy and empathy. The book concludes with a hopeful message: while emotional intelligence may come more naturally to some, it is a set of skills that can be learned and developed by anyone. By nurturing our emotional intelligence, we can lead more fulfilling lives, create more meaningful connections, and contribute to a more emotionally intelligent society. Closing remarks. Daniel Goleman's Emotional Intelligence not only introduces a paradigm shift in understanding intelligence but also offers practical insights into how individuals and societies can cultivate emotional intelligence. The book closes with a call to action for integrating emotional literacy into all aspects of life, emphasizing that by nurturing our emotional capabilities, we can create a more compassionate and harmonious world.